What's up, Lego builders? Welcome back to Coconut Brick Studios. Who doesn't love a good secret room? I know Darth Jar Jar does. This week I'm going to be building a maintenance platform with a potential lair for a certain Sith Lord that's also going to be used by droids to ambush the clone forces. I also want to show off the coolest lighting component I've ever bought. And to cap things off, we're going to be discussing a slowly growing issue with this Megito series that I have. So sit back, grab some popcorn, don't forget to execute Order 66 on that like button, and let's get building. From what we see of the Battle of Megito, the main bridge is well lit, which makes sense. You wouldn't want your main road from city to city to be a gloomy passageway, or you're going to have rich nobles accidentally driving off the edge after drinking too much blue milk. We don't get a good look at what exactly the light fixtures look like, so I get to design my own. I also ran out of lighting supplies after how many I used in the last update, but conveniently Light My Bricks had a Black Friday sale, and let's just say I went hard. There's the usual stuff here, battery boxes, lights, and connectors, but I also picked up this. It's a light up Lego lightsaber. I've never used one before, but I've seen them in other people's mocks, and I figured with all the lighting components I have running through the build, might as well light up Ki-Adi-Mundi's saber too. It's just an LED light fixed into a Lego lightsaber hilt, and you power it the same way any other light, but the blade looks so cool when lit. It's no meager light either. The whole blade is glowing, and you can even see a blue glow on the ground around the saber. I must say, I'm super impressed. For the light post, I decided to go bigger than what I did on the maintenance bridge since it's a smaller, lesser used one with no large vehicles, so only needs the smaller light boxes. I have a couple of design options. First is a very standard light post looking thing. The whole thing is hollow, so I can thread a light through it pretty easily and then cap off the top. The second design has the same base, but branches off on two sides at the top, so I can add two lights for extra brightness. I've seen a couple people commenting that I'm using the wrong color of light, or the wrong hue, I guess, since in the reference photo, the lights are all white, but the ones I'm using are yellow. And that's simply because I think it'll look better. I figured white lights would wash out the mock and not provide as much contrast to all the gray of the rock and bridge and then the white of the snow, whereas these yellow lights are more colorful and give the mock a grittier, more industrial vibe. But these light posts need somewhere to go, so I'm going to build another section of the main bridge, but don't worry. We're not going as in-depth this time as we did last week, since you know what's going down. This is like the fourth update where I'm building a section of a bridge, so there isn't much new to see here. But this middle section of the bridge is going to be where the main battle is taking place, so I'm not going to add a lot of broken spots like I did in the first one. That way I can have lots of room for minifigs and vehicles. But I would like to figure out how to add broken up chunks of the road, since in the reference photos, it looks like part of the road have been broken up or smashed together to create walls and hills. And I think those would be some good spots for clones to hide behind or set up gun positions on. I think I might try something similar to what I did on Coruscant, where I built random looking chunks of slope, then fit them together at various angles and positions to make it look like there were craters or holes in the ground. I will be adding part of a hole to the edge of this bridge section because it needs to match the damage that I put into the end of the first bridge section I built last week. Now I get to build the thing I was most excited for this week, a gray pillar.
Oh, come on!
Don't worry, it's going to be a little bit more than that. Last week I hinted at droids climbing up this bridge support to ambush clones from behind, so I'm going to add a little maintenance platform with a ladder for them to use to spring their trap. Plus, little things like this are really important in big mocks. While not very exciting on its own, something like a maintenance platform, control panels, or even garbage chute can really make a build feel more realistic and lived in, like it's an actual place that has people living normal lives. It's a good way to add subtle world building to your mock, since not everything can be clones and gunships. This is going to be real simple, just some plates to create a platform like a ring or halo circling the platform. What exactly do people need to access here? Good question. Maybe there'll be a way to get to the pipes that I put into the surface of the bridge, or maybe some controls that adjust heaters that were built into the bridge floor to help melt and keep ice off the surface. The most important thing is that it looks cool. In the side of the pillar there'll be a door that leads to a secret room, perhaps maybe the long sought after lair of Darth Jar Jar. Who knows? I just felt like this needed a door and it would just add a little extra detail to the pillar. This is where the aforementioned control panel will go. Then on the other side, I'm just going to add a big vent to help keep the machinery and other things cool. The more I think about it, the more I like the idea of this being a place to monitor heaters built into the surface of the bridge, just because, you know, all the snow and ice on Megito, you definitely need something like that, so I think we're going to go with that idea. We don't need any minifigs falling to their deaths, so I'm going to add an OSHA-approved railing. At first, I was going to build separate railings and stick them next to each other, but I didn't like how there was a gap where the different railings would meet up, so I pulled those off and connected them together via half pegs to get one solid ovalish rail that looks a lot better. The last thing to do is tile off the floor. Let me know in the comments if I should add little patches of snow down here as well. Well, this chunk of the bridge turned out pretty good. I got this section of the hole to line up perfectly with the other chunk of the bridge, so when I put them together, it creates this nice, satisfying big hole, which is pretty good. This will probably be the biggest one I do because I don't want to make these too big to where minifigs and vehicles can't move around on the bridge. I did accidentally misplace these pipes. They're 2 studs too far that way, so I got to move them over there, but you don't care about that. You're not here for that. What you're here for is definitely these awesome lampposts. So I got both of them done. Now it's time to see what they look like when they're lit up. The reason I built 2 options is because I built this one and I felt like it was a little too simple, a little too plain, a little too, I guess, Earth-like. So then I built this one to have, 2 light sources, a little bit more complexity to it, a little bit more design. I think I kind of like this one more. I think this one does produce more light, obviously, because there's 2 LED lights in there, but I feel like this one does a pretty good job by itself. And one thing I don't like about the double light post is the top. It just looks very blocky and clunky and just kind of, I don't know how to explain it, just not up to the standard of quality that I want to have in this mock, whereas this single light lamppost just looks so sleek and smooth and complete and just finished. I'm kind of leaning towards this option more, but let me know in the comments if you like light post A or light post B better. And speaking of lights, let's take another look at this awesome light up Ki-Adi-Mundi saber. This is going to be so cool, and honestly, I didn't realize how good this was going to look or how much it was going to add to the mock. I've seen the glow up sabers before and just was never super interested, and honestly it was on sale at Light My Bricks and I just kind of got it on a whim, but I'm really glad I did because I think this is going to be really cool and just help Ki-Adi's figure really stand out on the battlefield. I also had a really big scare in the lighting department this week. So on Monday, I was getting things starting to work on this week's update, and I happened to flip on the lights for the bridge because I wanted to take a cool little perspective shot of Ki-Adi-Mundi with his lightsaber on. Flipped the switch on, none of the lights turned on at all. That's not a good sign, but I was like, hey, don't panic. Maybe the batteries are dead. Swapped out the batteries, nothing changed. I thought maybe this battery box had come undone, so I gently tugged on a little bit, but it was still firmly secured to the expansion board that's underneath this bridge. So that's when I started to get really nervous because I was afraid maybe one of these lights, that was down underneath the tile and plate had gotten pinched too hard and broke. So that was shorting out all the rest of the lights. And so in my head, I was like, man, I might have to flip this over, rip up the bottom of the bridge, pull out all the lights and just figure out which one isn't working and replace the whole thing, which just honestly sounded like such a nightmare. And then I remembered I had pulled this expansion board out to work on a other project that I needed to light up, and I was out of expansion board. So I took it out of this little snowbank. Then when I was done, I put it back in. So I pulled this one out and just, had a thought, maybe you try replacing the expansion board. Maybe it burnt out or something. Sure enough, I swapped in this new expansion board right here. All the lights turn on again. So somehow, some way, I guess I burnt out this expansion board. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Definitely not gonna use this one because I don't want to cause any more damage or anything. But all in all, false alarm, everything is still good to go. Here's a look at the bridge support with the maintenance platform in. Really liking it. This is pretty much what I hoped this would look like. I had a little bit of trouble with the control panel, just making something that looked good and realistic. So I've got, levers, knobs, dials, buttons, all kinds of mechanical maintenance things. And then over here, we've got a door to a secret room. I like this one continuous railing a lot more than the disjointed broken one. Having this rounded shape to kind of outline or frame the maintenance platform just makes it look a lot more realistic. So I'm glad I was able to figure that out. So what's going to happen next with this is I'm going to build a metal cage that kind of goes up above the door, and that's going to cover a set of stairs that runs from the bridge down to this maintenance platform. That way, when people are climbing down here to work on stuff, they don't accidentally fall, and it'll just, keep them safe, keep them protected. The wind won't, blow them off or something. It's time to address the elephant in the room, the big issue with my Megito series, and that is this rock wall. I feel like it's low-key starting to ruin the updates because I'm getting to the point where I can't build anything new. Since both bridges have been started, I built the tunnel entrance, just did a maintenance platform, and here I am, still needing more rock work done. The reason it's holding up so much is obviously because the city's going to sit on top of the rock wall, and the main bridge runs into it and will be supported by it. I don't know how tall to build the main bridge supports until I know how tall this wall is going to be. And I also want to build a secret droid armory / base under the surface of the city, but I can't start that yet either. I've been chipping away at this as much as I can each week on live streams, since I know this doesn't make for riveting update content, but hopefully by Christmas this will all be done and I can kick off the new year by starting this city. I think it's about time I gave you a UTAT update. In case anyone's still still doesn't know, I'm building a custom UTAT for this MOC, and it's got its own series that comes out every other Friday. So if you want to see this come together and why I made the design choices I did, check that out, it's on the channel. In the last episode, I addressed some concerns I have with how the front is looking and finished the entire back half of the tank. It's got a removable hatch on top to access the interior, as well as an awesome double hinge door to allow troops to enter and exit the tank. I think I only have one more episode left before the finale showcase, so make sure to tune into the next one so you can see the front come together. These updates are getting harder to make since, like I said, the rock work is holding up so much of this build. But hey, at least it's not Cato Nemoidia. I was literally doing rock work until the last 2 or 3 updates of that series. Next week is, good question. What am I going to be doing next week? Who knows? Maybe I'll start on some droid vehicles, build some more buildings. There's going to be something, so make sure to stay tuned. But that wraps up this video. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. But until then, happy building.